Welcome back, folks. It's that time again. It's Tuesday morning, and as a wizard joining us from wherever you may be, I'd like to thank you all for watching us here this morning on the Morning Magic the Gathering Stock Show with your host, Brody. Friends of mine, friends of the channel, thanks again for tuning in. Do you like tracking the prices of Magic cards? Let me do it for you. I'm doing it weekdays here on the morning show with you folks tuning in from around the world. As a wizard, I enjoy turning objects into glass. I just want to make that clear. We're going to have a couple of news articles for you here, folks, today. Wherever you are, wherever you've got Brody with you, I want to thank you for dragging me along for the ride. I hope it's going to be a good one. It's a little chilly out here this morning. My best friend called me the other day and said an evil wizard had turned me into a tiny harp. I don't know what to do. I drove all the way to his house just to find out he's a big liar. All right, a couple of jokes there this morning to get us started. Are you a big liar? Did you perhaps claim there was some AI-generated art floating around in the world of Magic the Gathering? That's making more news and headlines in the world. In fact, so much so that folks on Reddit have decided to go ahead and ban any user who accuses Wizards of the Coast of using AI-generated art without adequate proof. And if it's proven to be true, the user may not be reinstated. A lot of grumblies in the tummy going around in the world these days, still making a little bit of headlines is Wizards of the Coast about this use of AI generated art. Yesterday, I had a very interesting notification pop across my Twitter feed. I gave a like, a follow, and a subscribe to Dave Raposa, the artist from Magic the Gathering who decided to take a stand against the man. That's right. The working man for the working man, just like your brother here, Brody Alfonso. Taking a stand in solidarity, telling the big guy just to shove it. I ain't working here no more. Take this job and shove it. I'm heading out the door. Little solidarity goes a long way. It's just so sad to see that it finally become up to the artist to take a stand and actually push back against the man. The big corporation that's been touting AI generated ads out on the internet as real content created by real humans, then doubling down and doubling back on their statements. Too bad, and it's sad. But perhaps the Wizards of the Coast employees will decide to shake things up around the office. Maybe they'll barricade themselves inside until things get a whole lot better. I can't help but think that's probably not going to happen, but we can always hope, right? Finally, the players are going to be the ones who have to pull it together and decide whether or not they're going to spend their hard earned money on new products that are coming out this year. And there's going to be a bunch of them. A little bit of a shakeup this morning. Got some news about Secret Lair to bring you folks here today. A little bit of a shakeup, and we're going to revisit a Magic the Gathering mechanic that came out 15 years ago. There was a little bit of a teaser that was provided by Mark Rosewater, about the new set that's coming up. So a little teaser, a little recap, a little article to read for you folks here in this one this morning. All right. What do you call an evil wizard who gives good hickeys? A necromancer. That's right. And a wizard this one's for you, Benson. A wizard who's really bad at football. What do you call him? Fumbledore. All right. Well, let's take a look at the stock desk here and see what we've got for articles here this morning. We've got another article by one of my favorite writers in the space, Harvey McGinnis. Harvey's been working hard over at the stock desk to bring us something to enjoy here, to whet our palate, just to whet our beak with a little bit of Secret Lair news here. Let's read that article. Let's get into that here. First thing this morning. All right, a man goes to see a wizard to see if he can lift a curse that a priest put on me years ago. The wizard says, "Can you remember the exact words of the curse?" The man replies, "I pronounce you man and wife." Perhaps that is impossible to do. But without further ado, we got an article here from Harvey McGinnis on the Secret Lair shakeup. For any of you folks here joining us this morning, oh, I'm going to need to fix the audio. Yep, we're coming in. Welcome to 2024, everybody. I hope your holidays went well. May we be only 1 week into the year, but the world of Magic is already abuzz with change. Ravnica Remastered. How's that? There we go. I think we're back. All right. Tommy Siddons, thanks for joining us here. Don't be sitting on the fence. Get out there with Tommy Siddons and hit the subscribe button. We're at the 348 subscriber mark. We need 500. That's the number. Let's try and let's try and get to that 500 number. We got Siddons joining us. We got Twiddler in the place. Let's try and push the algorithm just a little bit harder. I got some interesting. I got something to make you laugh that's going to be coming out really soon. I got a funny video coming out, so I'm hoping you folks will enjoy that. But for the meantime, let's take a look at this article here. Thanks for slapping me around here, Tommy. Keeping me honest and on the stream with a little bit of audio. Otherwise, it's just going to be hand signals, and that's not going to be fun for anybody. So moving forward, the secret layer drops will be printed in set quantities rather than a print-to-demand fashion. According to Wizards of the Coast announcements, this will be applied to most products, allowing for some ambiguity and breathing room in the rollout, which is going to be initiated. I like it. Initiations. I love it when there's initiations over at the Wizards of the Coast. Does this mean that as soon as the one secret layer is out, they're just going to push the next one? Tom 94 Cup. Good morning, brother. Nice to see you. Rusted. Good to be here. Glad you could make it. We're talking secret layer here this morning. Overall, we should anticipate this change to apply to all secret layer products from secret layer commander decks to our near omnipresent drop series. The print runs for all secret layers are going to be tightening. Print run numbers. Rodiacs. I like it. I like it. I wonder if we're going to get to know print run. Does this mean they're going to tell us what the print runs are, how many sets are out there, or the scalper is going to have a field day with this? Well, I had a wizard ask me to proofread one of his scrolls last week. Actually, it was more of a spell check. So I gave him a hand and went ahead and took a look at it. The primary justification cited in this announcement is the issue of shipping times. Well, purchasers frequently wait weeks, if not months, before secret layers boxes are shipped out beyond the satisfaction with wait times and long slag being ordered. What's this? The long slog between order, production, and shipment is also a significant logistics concern for Wizards of the Coast, adding additional level of complexity to the product from the company's perspective. I'm gonna be like LV, how they destroy their surplus bags at EOY to keep prices high. Exactly. Oh, what? Yeah, does that mean that if they don't sell it out, is it going to be, maybe it'll be timed and it'll be just a numbered amount of print run? Louis Vuitton. Yes. Well, that would be a great job if you had, that'd be even better if they had a limited print run, but then they also had a time to buy it and the excess product that doesn't get bought gets burned. Yes. That would be quite the interesting position. Product burner over at Louis Vuitton. Magic Vuitton? All right, in Secret Lair retrospective. In order to understand how this change in Secret Lair is going to affect prices for Secret Lair products going forward, first we have to understand where things were with Secret Lair in the immediate lead up to this change. First, Harvey's going to talk about production. All right, if we've been a long-time customer of the Secret Lair, you've noticed that the time between the order placed and the product receipt has shortened significantly. This is a wonderful thing for consumers. The back end side is to why this is the case has very little to do with simply paying for expedited shipping. Rather, it has to do with estimated pre-order production. As Wizards of the Coast said in their announcement, they have 4 years of Secret Lair order data to use as a blueprint for calculating print runs, and a technique that has already been in place for a while now as they're attempting to address the order to arrival timeline. Hey, you got to check my deck. Thanks for taking a look at my deck there, Coach. Appreciate it. Let me know if we need to make some cuts. All right, in short, Wizards has been planning and printing a limited amount of the outset for most drops for a while now. So they print a little bit just to get started, and then if it sells really well, then they have to print some more. The significant differences that we'll likely see going forward is to be the cutoff of subsequent waves of production corresponding to a slightly larger initial wave. This brings us to the second key issue, order size. Well, let's just discuss this for a little bit here. They've had 4 years to calculate print runs demand for secret layers, so they have an idea of what they're going to want to produce before they launch. Bodes the question, is the general public going to get the numbers, or is perhaps somebody at the company going to leak print run numbers? We'll have to keep an eye over on little brother Rudy's channel to see if he's got any market insight as far as secret layer print runs go. All right. Secret layer drops have frequently been a hit or missed product. And I don't just mean in terms of artistic appeal. Outside of a handful of particularly successful value filled drops, the sell through rate and volume of secret layer orders has been diminishing over time. And it was particularly noticeable when the recent Festival in a Box release, which was headlined by the inclusion of a secret layer containing, among other cards, Box Opal. I'm going to have a little sip of coffee. This is one that Mrs. Alfonso picked up with the Festival in a Box. This one is actually a really nice secret layer. It come with the opal in there. I think it's got some talismans, a bunch of artifacts. Very, very good secret layer. If you ever wanted to get a copy of Mox Opal, this would be a way to do it. All right, despite being both advertised as a limited run product and containing a highly desirable, valuable card, the posting was available for purchase for an extended period of time, so much that its value on the secondary market fell significantly in the weeks immediately following its release. Couple this with the pre-production practices mentioned earlier, and the impetus for this change becomes clear. Many secret layer products have been launched without needing a successive print run. FOMO and looking forward. Now that we know where the things were with secret layers, what can we expect from this print run change to actual reality? Well, let's break it down into two categories, the logical and the psychological. First, the logical. I love these articles filled with logic. Anguished unmaking. In the immediate future, I don't really expect this change to have a significant effect on the price of secret layers in the secondary market, nor will it significantly affect the prices of single cards contained within. The reason for this is that in practice, we've already essentially been in a limited print run market for a while now, and many secret layers haven't needed substantial subsequent print run waves. Rather, most sell within their pre order production quotas, and the market quantity reflects a single print run supply. Where things get a little bit more interesting is when, however, the secondary category of the market pressures build up, and that is the psychological pressure behind fear of missing out on these products. So, advertising secret layers as a limited print product increases their perceived desirability and the race for consumers to order them, meaning that we'll likely see a short term distortion in the prices of secret layers relative to the window of their release. This fear of missing out is a real market mover, but usually only for limited windows of time, such as secondary prices for secret layers may go up slightly as they arrive in consumers' hands and after the release wave, but I doubt that this will substantially alter the pricing model for secret layers as an asset category in the long run. In order for that to be the case, the size of this limited print run would need to be significantly reduced. And Wizards of the Coast has made it no public mention of reducing print run sizes. What would you like to see? Would you like them to see bring back a little bit of collectability in the world? Maybe limit the print runs, maybe trim them down a little bit so that it becomes more of a chase product? Hard to get, perhaps, sold out soon? You have a big fancy deck, good sir. Thank you. uh, Special thanks to T Freezy. I'm just sort of getting into CEDH a little bit more of a competitive format, so I had to bump up the power level of a couple of my decks, and now I'm on to a new new deck that I'm having a little bit of fun with it. We'll see how it shakes out. To wrap up, Harvey hopes that this article will help clarify things is where we're going with Secret Lair, both in terms of the general accessibility update as well as the pricing implications as such. Overall, this seems more like a streamlining of the current operations rather than news source of significant concern. Good luck getting your Secret Lairs in 2024. We'll see you next time. Well, thank you very much, Hart. Appreciate you folks for joining here this morning. Got Tommy Siddons. We got coaches in the house and Tom 94 Cup rested. All you folks tuning in to talk a little Magic stocks. What's good when it comes to Secret Lair? Are you a fan? Are you not a fan? Only time will tell. All right, I got another news article for you folks here this morning that I want to read. Before we get into our movers and the shakers here this morning, once when I was working at a store, a man dressed as a wizard approached the counter and he said, do I get any money off for having this big stick? And I told, no, we don't offer a staff discount. Sorry about that. Wizards should get a staff discount. Unless they're carrying a wand. Then I don't know what then I don't know what they should. All right, let's get into this article here. I got an interesting one for you here. I'm excited to read it. It's Tuesday, right? It's just the second day of the week. Man, is it cold outside? Where is it? What's it doing where you at? So I know we had some teasers, and there's going to be news articles with spoilers coming out very shortly about the new release that's coming up. Pre-teaser, teaser. And Magic the Gathering teaser heralds return of 15-year-old mechanic. What could it be? This article is brought to us by Zach Fink. The release of Murders at Karlov Manors is nearly a month away, and with it, we're starting to gather more and more information about this unique murder mystery set. Back in December, a handful of spoilers were revealed as part of our list to look at the set. In episode 1, the Murders of Karlov Manors storyline was also made available to the same time. Episode 2 was released, giving us even more to dive into. Just beyond the story associated with the murders at Karloff Manor, though we were also given a sneak peek at some of the potential mechanics and the card designs that will be spoiled in the coming weeks, as is customary before the release of every premiere set. Head designer Mark Rosewater previewed his teaser for Murders at Karloff Manor just the other day, and there's a lot of information to take away from it, so let's take a closer look at some of the more intriguing and unique features of the set. An investigate kill condition. Interesting. This is turning out to be more a little bit like an episode of Clue, right? Whenever you sacrifice a clue, target opponent gets 2 poison counters. First, we're going to focus on one of the more easily abusable lines of rules text that this is supposedly going to appear in a magic card from the set. This ability is solid payoff for any commander decks that are capable in the court, are quite capable of generating massive number of clue tokens by themselves if you put in the work. A card that immediately comes to mind is the Tireless Tracker. That was a card that was really good, even when it was in standard. A lot of people like playing it, and it did see some support in other formats, including a lands deck. So I would imagine a card if the clue, investigate, kill combo is going to be a real thing in this new Murders at Karloff Manor. I think that the tireless tracker would probably be something that might get a revisit on the price chart. All right, what's interesting though is that based on the wording of the text above, the card in question doesn't care about how you sacrifice the clue tokens. Therefore, rather than having to pay 2 mana to crack each clue individually to give an opponent 2 poison counters, you can use a free sacrifice outlet to speed up the process, such as Kark, Clan, Ironworker. ACI, sack an artifact to add 2. All right. Card that got banned in a lot of formats because it was just too darn good. Was it 2 mana for the KCI? 4 mana for KCI. So this might be a way to sack your clue tokens and give your opponents a bunch of fast poison counters, knock them out of the games. So Cart Clan, for instance, could be an extremely useful at helping you outright win the game with clue tokens. Adding to it cards like Academy Manufacturer, the one that ramps up your token production. So this one says if you would create a clue, food, or treasure, instead you create one of each. So all you have to do is make food, then you get the clues. If you make treasure, then you get the clues. So a card like the Academy Manufacturer might be desirable and making some moves on the price charts as well. And the clue generating process, for example, simply casting Dockside Extortionist with the manufacturer in play would let you net a ton of clues plus treasure tokens to help you crack them. Card Clan Ironworks gave me PTSD back when it was modern legal. Doesn't it ever? So a card like Dockside and the manufacturer combining together could get you a lot of clues. So people are going to already try and I would keep your eye out. Is there any clue? Give me us a clue here on the channel. What else do you think? The first card that comes to mind if clues matter is the Tireless Tracker. That's just me. But it should be noted that it's unclear what color this new card will be in, and as such, what commander decks can use it. This card pairs extremely nice with Lonis Cryptozoologist. Interesting. As long as Lonis can generate a ton of clues and sacrifice them all at once, but we'll have to wait and see if the new card is compatible or not color wise. So if it's a colorless card, well, everything's pretty much on the table. If it's in green, maybe the Tireless Tracker is going to be something that works well with it. But if it's in Demir, I think of Time Sieve right away seems like an interesting possibility to take some extra turns and maybe poison out your opponent. All right, let's read more. MTG Tournament creates massive drama over counterfeit cards. Ooh. And a returning mechanic. This is the one that's supposed to be coming back is Retrace. All right. Una's Grace. There's a card I play called Raven's Crime. It's got Retrace on it. Now, that's the ability that you can play the card from your graveyard simply by discarding a land in addition to paying its other costs. And then you can do this again and again. As long as you have a land to discard, you can retrace a spell as many times as you want. So a card like Raven's Crime or Grace, the keyword mechanic, not printed in a premier set since 2008. It's possibly the retrace. It's got to be Perhaps the most interesting announcement within the teaser is that the keyword mechanic from over 15 years ago will make a triumphant return. The premier sets from 2008s were Morning Tide, Shadowmoor, Eventide, and Shards of Alara. Even narrowing it down the range of mechanics that could be returning, many of these mechanics listed above are quite high on Mark Rosewater's Storm scale, which likely contributes to why they haven't returned in premier sets for quite some time. It could be Forecast, Tommy Siddons. Thanks for the comment. Forecast or Foretell? I remember Murray was playing a little bit of Foretell. That's the one where you play it face down in exile, I think. Is that right? Am I right, Tommy Siddons? For instance, Wither is given a 7 out of 10 on the Storm scale, largely because its potentially detrimental effects on limited gameplay. Keywords like with and persist also don't make a ton of sense thematically to be returning, which seems essential for this set with much lore focus. I'm talking about Forecast, not Foretell. Okay. I get it. Forecast. I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm not familiar. Jeez. Let's look that up. MTG Forecast? What's that? MTG Forecast. Different than Foretell? Forecast is the keyword ability from the Azorius Guild and Dissension. Designed by Mark Rosewater as an activated ability that a player can use only when a card is in their hand and only during your upkeep. What the individual card does usually is related to what it normally does, either scaled down of effect of the spell or something that supports the spell once it is cast. Okay. So Forecast is like a mini version of the spell, maybe a watered down version for a little bit less mana. Okay. Interesting. Kind of like a reverse overload, perhaps? Yes. All right. Ultimately, players believe that Retrace seems like it could be the most likely mechanic to bring back in a murder mystery themed environment, retracing your steps to help you find something that can be essential. On the flip side, Conspire also fits into the theme quite well as characters are bound to plot against each other in an effort to uphold their innocence or frame someone else. So retrace, perhaps, forecast, perhaps. Conspire was given an 8 on its storm scale a little over a year ago, as though Mork Rosewater hinted that it might be best to tweak the mechanic for future use. Given how far in advance designs begin for sets, this does cast doubt on Conspire's return, but only time will tell. Yeah. What's this? A banning? Potential Zedru enabler? This is an interesting card. The goat, right? No, it's a minotaur. The little minotaur monk. This was a commander. A rather interesting piece of rules text to appear on a card in the new set provides you with the ability to donate cards to your opponent. Now, Zedru is the Minotaur that says target opponent gains control of any number of target permanents you control. All right. And then, or at the beginning, sorry, rather, Zedru is the one that says at the beginning of your upkeep, you gain X life and draw X cards, where X is the number of permanents you own that your opponents control. And then you can pay a red, white, and blue to give target opponent control of target permanent you own. So you could donate stuff with Zedru. So a rather interesting piece of rule text. Target opponent gains control of any number of target permanents you control. What are we going to give our opponent? All right, rather interesting piece of rules text to appear on the card in the new set provides you with the ability to donate cards to your opponents. In general, this style of effect is weak, as gifting your opponents your own card is obviously not ideal in most circumstances. However, there are scenarios where doing so can either mess with your opponent, or in the case of Zedru the Greathearted, can reward you in another way by simply gaining life. Assuming this new card is within the Jeskai color combination, it would be perfect for the Zedru Commander deck, sending cards like aggressive Mining or Steel Golem to an opponent can be quite detrimental to them. Let's see here. Steel Golem, you can't play spells. Okay. Yeah, you can't play creature spells. And then what's Aggressive Mining? Got to be something. You can't play land. Sacrifice the land, draw 2 cards, activate only ability only once each turn. So these are some potential donate targets, perhaps, to give control of to your opponent. Here we go. A mole god makes an appearance. Graph Mole, the mole beast. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, you gain 3 life. Legendary creature Mole God. A rather strange creature type is also going to be present in the set. There have been moles. Mole, mole, mole. I can't. Where's my Austin Powers? Uh, a rather strange creature is also going to be present in the set. There have been moles. We need a mole at WotC to let us know what's going on with the Secret Lair print run. And there have been gods, but now we have a creature with the both types in the world of Magic the Gathering, and some players believe this character will be the Gruul God that is being referred to in episode 1, which previously decimated the 9th district. This is absolutely possible. While it may seem strange to include a mole god in the set, given how few moles there are in Magic the Gathering, Murders at Karloff Manor might actually be the perfect set for it. The first mole in Magic was none other than Graph Mole, which specifically provided a benefit for sacrificing clues. We've already seen a multitude of spoilers that investigate, so this could be a cool opportunity to reference a sweet creature type and put it into the spotlight. A ton? More to look forward to. Got a picture of Thassa's Oracle. What's going on here? As long as there are no cards in your library. Interesting. We're going to be going back to this Thassa mechanic where you don't want cards in your library. Perhaps, thanks to the teaser, there are tons of details to be on the lookout for, from a card that references an empty library like Labman to a card that allows you to cast creature spells from your graveyard for a turn. There's plenty of potential for some seriously powerful cards that show up in this set. There are also some sweet references to cards that and sets in the past. For instance, a new card with the name Deadly Cover Up. Ooh, let's Deadly Cover Up. Oh, we don't get to see it. I want to see it. All right, it sounds really eerily similar to Devious Cover Up, the card that says counter target spell. If that spell was countered this way, instead of putting it into its owner's graveyard, you may shuffle up to 4 target cards from your graveyard into your library. A counterspell from Guilds of Ravnica, and given that Murders at Karlov Manor takes place on Ravnica, the similar name is almost certainly not a coincidence. It'll be fun to further decipher more of these hints and information from the teaser as more spoilers make their presence known. Oh, and this one. What do you folks think about the Murders at Karlov Manor? I'm not so hyped about any of the new sets right now. I don't know if I'm going to be buying. The Brody budget is like a shoestring right now for Magic cards. It's actually quite thin for new Magic. Like I always try to balance out my spending on Magic cards because it's really easy to go overboard. You know, it's like cardboard crack. You once you get started, you just can't stop. So it's got to be something really good and really spicy for me to want to get into something new. If not, I'll probably stick with buying older foils for around the $2 to $3 mark to try and see if I can get some synergy with cards that are going to be coming up in the future and try and maybe capitalize on that side of things in the market. Old staples, commander staples, and maybe pick up some recently banned cards that have taken a bit of a tumble in price. I might keep an eye on that curse totem to see if it does a little bit of a retrace and a double tap back down to the prices where it once was. What's your budget for Magic for 2024? You decide to get into some new products. I always try to, if I can get a pre-release kit, I'll buy a pre-release kit, and that's probably about it. But as far as buying mass boxes, we'll see. It'll be interesting with the box price in this day and age, in this economy. It's going to be hard for me to justify buying a case of Magic at $225 a box plus. So only time will tell. We'll see what comes out. We'll see what hype is generated with it. I like to try and catch things on the flip side or catch things on the backswing. Try and pick up some cards that might have synergy with a new set that's coming out before it gets released. So I like that approach a little bit more, considering things can kind of take a nosedive. It's hard to say whether or not the new releases will flourish and actually be really powerful, be good, and hold their value. So I find it a little bit more exciting to try and speculate on some cards from older sets that may work with cards coming up in printing with the spoilers, like a card like Tireless Tracker, Time Sieve, anything that allows you to sack artifacts. I think we're probably going to see some market movement once the spoilers come out for the Murders at Karlov Manor. Let me know what you think. If clues are coming back, what cards are going to be working with clue tokens that you're going to want to pick up before the set gets released, before it's too darn late, right? Time Capsule, good morning. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining. Murex at $50. WTF. Twiddler says he's hyped about how it might all be something brand new. I'm hyped about how it might all be something brand new. That's cool. Yeah. So a little bit of a change, right? Something a little off pace, a new flavor, perhaps. I mean, speaking of flavor, what do you call a culinary wizard? Like a wizard that's really good at cooking. A sorcerer, right? Yeah, it would be nice to see something a little bit different, right? Let's take a look at your movers and your shakers here this morning with that. Mirix at $50, Tommy. Let's take a look at Mirix. All thanks for everybody joining us here. This is Tuesday edition of the show. That's the land, the sphere land from Rexy Oliver V1. Creates a might token. That might be a viable option. All right. Modern was Monday. I guess Tuesday's Pioneer. That's what that means. We'll do Pauper tomorrow. And let's take a look at our movers and the shakers here this morning. Thanks for tuning in. Everybody around the world and everybody who's getting going out there. Thanks for moving this economy, getting out there and doing your part, being a bit of the working man for the working man. What are you up to today? Are you at work? Are you at the desk? You're just trying to kill a little bit of time. Maybe you're in your car on the way to work. Maybe you got me next to the coffee pot. Wherever you're joining me, I want to thank you. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe. We're just trying to break past that 350 subscriber mark. It seems like a tough one, but I got a new video coming out soon that's going to make you folks laugh. I hope that you enjoy it. Give me some time. I'm going to have some spice out. All right, without further ado, this is your Pioneer Movers and Shakers for Tuesday, January 9th, 2024. Say no more. What do we got here? We got a little bit of stocks and talks here for you folks. What do we got here? Kinnan, the Bonder Prodigy. This has got to be the ugliest dude in Magic, right? Like, what's this? What's his problem? Hyped about how it might sell as a new product. The interest might be there. Jumpstart has proven to be a bust. So this might be a good for the future of Magic. Well, we'd always like to see some positive in the world of Magic. What is with this Kinnan? Bonder Prodigy, the 2/2 on the top. This is from Ikoria. It's people play this guy as a commander. They do. They also run him in the main deck, but this is one of the cards that is making the movers and the shakers list. It's number 1 on our list here today. It's up 10%. It's $12. Legendary creature. When you tap a non-land permanent for mana, add another mana type that permanent produced. So he doubles your mana from your rocks or any creatures that you have on the board. You get to pay 7 and look at the top 5 cards of your library. Put a non-human creature card from among them onto the battlefield. So if you get a non-human off the top, goes onto the battlefield for 7, and then put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Let's take a look at Kinnan's chart. Kinnan the Bonder. Oh yeah. Let's take a look at this chart here. He's been trending up slowly, just swift little. Let's pull this chart back here for Kinnan. Seen a little bit of interest here, going up to around the $10 mark once already in April 2023. This card gets a lot of play in Commander. I do see him around the table, game event near me. Always look at every change as a positive until we find out it's a crappy seller, right? You got to keep that positive attitude. That's another good way to be, right? What decks are using it? Well, I think we're probably going to see mostly Commander decks down here, but there is one deck running it in Pioneer. It's this one. It's the 4-color Rona combo. I want to take a look at this deck list here this morning. 4-color Rona combo. Who's the Rona? Rona, Herald of Invasion. All right, whenever you cast a legendary spell, untap Rona, Herald of Invasion. Tap to draw a card, then discard. And a Phyrexian Black and 5 transfer Rona. Activate as a sorcery. Activate as a sorcery. Sylvan Caryatid. Attracts to the Unifier. Fae of Wishes, Llanowar Elves, and Elvis Mystics. So all these mana dorks are tapped for double mana. Then we got Tyvar, the Jubilant Brawler. This is our Pioneer deck. Retraction Helix, Mox Amber. Oh yeah, the Mox Amber double tap. Hey Murray, how you doing, buddy? Nice to see ya. We're talking about, we're under our movers and the shakers here today, but we're talking a little bit about murders at Karlov Manor. And one of the comments in the comment section was regarding the return of a 15-year-old mechanic. There's some possibility, there's some discussion that it could be retraced. And then I think it was Tommy Siddons who said it could be forecast. And I know when you were sitting at the table the other day, you really had us scratching our heads. Murray Cooper puts a card in exile face down. He says, I'm just going to put this card here face down in exile. And we're all going like, what is it? Is it a creature? No. Is it are you morphing it? No. I'm just going to put it face down. So that's where the Murray was playing foretelling spells there the other day, Saturday evening. So it made me think of you when this discussion came up there, Murray, because it could be a revisit to the forecast mechanic, perhaps retrace coming out in the Murders at Karloff Manor. So it was nice to see you here on the morning show and a little discussion, fellow Magic player, friend of mine. We're looking at Kinnan. He's at the top of the Pioneer list. Now, Kinnan's also seen some play in Commander. I know T. Freezy's playing him, doubling the mana rocks. Really good for 2 mana. You get a 2/2, and then you can just double up your mana on your dwarfs, on your little mana dorks. You can also get 1 more out of your rocks. Kinnan's seen a price tick up for about $14. Surprised all those veteran players couldn't figure it out. Kept grilling me about it, right? Yeah, it was good. That's why you need to show up with a little bit of spice, right? Knock the dust off some of those older mechanics and really give the people at the table something to think about, right? That's the benefit of having several commander decks. You can kind of keep people wondering and keep people guessing. All right, here's a card I know Murray's playing. This card here, Nykthos Shrine to Nyx. Murray, let me know. I know you're playing this, right? What deck are you playing this in? This is definitely Commander card, but we're doing the Pauper list or the Pioneer list, so it's got to see some play in Pioneer. Maybe it's just Pioneer legal, but I think people are playing this in the Crew Fix deck. Am I right? I could be wrong, but Nykthos Shine to Nyx, you can tap it for a colorless or pay 2 and tap it. Choose a color, add to your mana pool any amount of mana that color equal to your devotion to that color. So yes, in a devotion, this is definitely a card to run. I do want disclaimer. I do want to build an Azorius devotion deck. I think it would be really funny. And this is definitely on the list of cards to include. It's really expensive. I don't have a copy of Nykthos. Of course, I didn't play in this set of Theros or open much Theros, but a really good land. This is definitely mono black or any color deck that's got a lot of color pep. Yeah, mono blue devotion and modern plus expect several copies. I got a lot of Nykthos. You got a lot of Nykthos. Good. Well, it's worth $30 now. It's been moving up. People are starting to get see the value of this card, I guess. It's been as high as what do we see here? Like 40, $50? Yeah, that's about $300 Canadian, right? God, it's just what's going on in this economy, right? All right, let's see. Wow, we got the big arrow out here this morning. Nice, very nice. All right, this thing's taken a couple of pokes up in price in 2020. It went as high as $30, then came back down to 25, and then back up to about 30 again, leveling off around the 2022 mark. Another bump up in price around New Capenna, topping off the charts at just under $40, which is like $600 Canadian, and now it's taking a little poke down, back in and around getting support around the $30 mark. Nykthos. Let's see what decks are using it. Mono blue devotion. Yes, that would be a way to go. We got Nykthos Ramp in mono green. You got Giada, Font of Hope, Selesnya Angels playing it. Crix on a Rogmath, a bunch of commander decks. I guess the Selesnya Angels deck. Let's take a look. What angels do we have here? We got some blue ones and some green ones, and we got some white ones. Selesnya, that's right. So some more dorks. Elvish Mystic, Llanowar Elves, anything with double white. Fun fact, as far as I know, double white is the hardest mana pip to achieve in Magic the Gathering. That's why white tends to be a little bit tougher to play. Cards like the Bishop of Wings, Inspiring Overseer, whenever you see double white in a casting cost, I go, oh, that's going to be tough to cast. Resplendent Angel. Look at the art on this card here. Very cool. Righteous Valkyrie. And I was hoping to see this card. Yes, Sigarda. This is a really good card. T. Freezy was talking about it the other day. Sigarda, Font of Blessings. There's some tech going around in the commander space with Sigarda, Font of Blessings. Speaking of Nykthos and Selesny Angels, we got this flying 4/4. Other permanents you control have hexproof. You may look at the top card of your library at any time, and you may cast angel spells and human spells from the top of your library. So this gives protection when it's combined with another card that gives protection as well. So I think that's the tech where you can give your permanents hexproof, because this is other permanents you control hexproof. I think there's another card that will give her hexproof, so you can stack it. Good stacks piece. And then, of course, playing off the top of your library is never a bad thing, and looking at the top card of your library is also fun. In a game where Sigarda is not on the battlefield, that would be called cheating. But Sigarda lets you do it. Branch Cloth Pathway. Interesting. Like it. So the Celestia Angels deck getting a boost from Nykthos Shrine to Nyx. Whining and dining and trining here this morning. Here's a card. Oh my gosh, this is like Murray Cooper Day. It really is. Here's a card I know you're also playing, Gisela the Broken Blade. This is another card from the Eldritch Moon block. Legendary Angel Horror. This is the one I think it melds, isn't it? To Bruna? Yes, Brazella. Never mind. Brazella, not Bruna. I think Murray's playing this as well. This is another commander deck. Flying first strike 4/3. Got lifelink in the beginning of your end step if you own both Gisela the Broken Blade and a creature named Bruna. That's the Fading Light. Exile them and meld them into Brizella, the Voice of Nightmares. Yeah, had a Brizella in EDH. Welcome to the show, Murray. This one is definitely up your alley. So what are you playing this one? Eldrazi Angels? Your opponents can't cast spells with converted mana cost 3 or less. What a mean card, right? Well, this card hasn't seen a lot of action. It's neat because when you meld the two, I just want to see if I can flip this over. Do we get the half the card? Yeah, we actually get the whole card here. But like when you look at it, I think when you flip it over in real life, that it's split down the center here, right? There's a split line here, and then half the card is the top, and then half is the bottom, and then you get like the full big size card, which is pretty cool. If you can, and when that happens, what do we call that? Achievement unlocked, right? You want to get that achievement unlocked by melding these two. All right, well, let's just take a look at the price chart on this one here. $10 in and around the first Masters, Double Masters, Ultimate Masters, Ravnica, Allegiance, and the Masters set. Then we got War of the Spark coming up, where it took a poke up to just over the $10 mark, and Ikoria seems to be where this card really seemed to get some pump, going up to $20, and then in and around Strixhaven, it went as high as 30. It's been sort of trending down for the last little while and stabilizing 25, $30, and then now it's taking a little poke down, but gaining some traction again. If you like to meld cards, this is like one of the original meld cards, I think it is, before we had Mishra, the one that from the Brothers War that melds. I think it was mono white good stuff. Can't fully remember, just wanted to meld. Not many times I felt that powerful and had Brazella on the table, right? You gotta feel the power. Brazella, right? Love it. Thanks for joining here on the stream this morning. So Gisela the Broken Blade seeing a tick up in price. This is getting a little bit more expensive, about a $20 bill for Gisela the Broken Blade. She's third off the top. And then here's something from Zendikar, the Void Winnower. I actually think that Devoid is going to be relevant. Now hear me out. Hear me out. I am a big fan of Liberator Urza's Battlethopter. So I went through the other day down the list of cards with Devoid to find out how many actual playable cards are there that have a color identity but actually have no color. Because I wanted to see how many cards I could actually play off the Liberator with flash. So Eldrazi is always a good choice if you're playing colorless or devoid. And if colored identity matters because you're playing commander, then you're going to have to go with the devoid. But there's plenty of Eldrazi that have no color identity, such as the void winnower that we're seeing here on our movers and the shakers this morning. This thing's $27. It's quite an expensive card. What do we get for 9 mana? Your opponents can't cast spells with even mana values. 0 is even. And your opponents can't block with creatures with even mana values. It's an 11-9. Quite interesting stats on this boy. I know this is played in the Urza Liberator, Urza's Battlethopter deck because it's colorless. It's 9 mana to cast this 11-9. So you can cast it with Flash. Let's take a look at decks using it. And we're going to take a look at the charts. Commander deck. Where's the Liberator, Urza's Battlethopter deck? Not in here. Sad to say. I wish it was. It should be. We got Zuladok, the Void Gorger, Kozlik, the Distortion, Animar, Soul of Elements, Joda, Archmage Eternal, Satoru Mizawa, Kinnan, the Bonder Prodigy. I guess Kinnan would want to play it because Kinnan's going to double your mana. You're going to ramp this out. It's like big green Drazi, right? Indomitable Creativity. Okay. Rakdos, Lord of Riots, Yennet, Cryptic Sovereign, and Heliod, the Radiant Dawn. Commander deck's playing it. Kind of interesting. Take a quick look at the chart here. This thing hasn't seen him. Wow, this thing is just dog, eh? This could be actually a good pickup. I know it's on the movers and the shakers, but I do like to take a look at the movers and the shakers on the upside. I like to see the cards that are moving up. And simply because you like look at a card like this Void Winnower that was up to $60. And then like it's done nothing but decline in price about half of what it was. It could just keep softening. So don't take everything for granted on the movers and the shakers list saying like this card is moving up. It could just be like a little price spike or an increase in sales that gives some attention to a card. And this is why I like to monitor this list, because sometimes I see things that are spiking and I go, ooh, I gotta get myself a copy of that because I think it's undervalued. Play value is what we're coming here to find. I like the Void Winnower. It's $27. You know, $27 for a Magic card is a lot of money. I have a tough time walking into the store and buying 5 singles and coming out with $150 for 5 cards. It's really tough. What else we got? Idantha Triome? Oh yeah, the Triomes from Ikoria. I would say, wow, $20 for a Triome? That's really good. What do we got here? The Plain Swamp Forest. It's got cycling on them. I like all the Triomes. In fact, I would definitely pick up. I think I got a couple of Triomes. I didn't get as many Triomes as I'd like to. What do we got? We have some new Capenna on the shelf. Yeah, we do. I picked up some new Capenna simply just to try and get myself some Triomes. I think this is the other thing. Like I picked up new Capenna overstock when it went out of print, and it wasn't really selling too well. It was just kind of lost steam, and then they were blowing out the booster boxes for about $90 Canadian, $95 Canadian. So I picked up I think I picked up a case of new Capenna because I wanted to get the Triomes. The Triomes are something that will help long term on any sealed boxes of New Capenna or Ikoria, because these lands I think it's the first time we saw 3 basic land types on a land that fixes your mana. Now with the card named Spelunking, that's the one that lets your lands enter the battlefield untapped. That can let this Triome enter the battlefield untapped, so you can use it right away. $20. These are pushing up to around Shockland, sort of fetch land value in some of the lesser popular shocks and fetches. The Triomes, this is a good investment. And I'm not saying go out and buy Triomes, but I'm saying if you had picked up Triomes for about the $4 or $5 mark back when they were released, now these have gone up to 20. Indicative that the sealed box booster price might also do the same thing. Look at this nice, sweet, smooth graph heading up this way. When are we going to see another reprint on Triomes? I don't know. It could be a while. They are pretty recent, but I do run one or two. I think I run one of the Triomes in my three-color Grixis Commander deck. So nice to see the Triomes. There's lots of places you can use them. They're played in Omnath, in Modern, also in Enigmatic Fires. Nibdelite's playing them. Any of the 4 or 5 color decks. Look at this. All 5 color decks loving playing the Triomes. Thalia and the Gitrog monster. Lots of slots available to slot in a Triome. Here's a card from Ikoria I'm excited about. I think I have a couple of copies of it. I did some tech on this card there last year. The Ozlith, 1 mana artifact, pretty cool. I need a copy of An Offer You Can't Refuse. Not much Capenna open. An Offer You Can't Refuse is really good. I even saw people in Calgary running it against themselves. Like, for example, there's a couple of, I think there's a white spell that costs 0 mana and it's got the you lose the game effect. And people, I saw one guy that was playing it in Modern, and he was playing Storm, and then they wait till their opponents, they wait till your end step, and you play the white 0 mana, you lose the game spell, and then you offer you can't refuse your own spell just to ramp. So like the offer you can't refuse is actually can be blue ramp if you've got another free spell to go with it. Oh hell yeah! I picked up a $4 to $5 Triumph for $5, saving that one coming. Saw that one coming. Yes, Triumph's very good. I didn't buy the Triumphs just themselves. I picked up some sealed boxes of New Capenna on overstock. So like $95 a box was pretty cheap. They were trying to blow them out, so I think I bought a case. I really miss the days of the $80 booster boxes, but you know, at 90 bucks, $90 shipped. I mean, that's not a bad deal. I think that's pretty good. And then you can actually draft with your friends, right? Hot Dice, nice to see you here this morning. So the Ozlith says whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield that had counters on it, put those counters on the Ozlith. At the beginning of combat on your turn, the Ozlith has counters on it. You may move all counters from the Ozlith onto target creature. Here's an awesome card from Ikoria. It's no wonder it's $42. This can be played, I would say this can even be played in Legacy or in any card like Arcbound Ravager, Hardened Scales, anything that puts counters on it. If you've got perhaps a Walking Ballista that you want to load up with counters, the Ozlith is going to be a good card. I don't know about running out and paying $40 for it, but it would have been a fantastic card to sit on and hold on to if you opened it. It didn't start off that way. It started off only at a mere couple of dollars, right around Ikoria. It was $5. Now it's started ticked up all the way to New Capenna, and there's going to be some more interaction that works well with this, especially with putting counters on creatures. Those cards going to be good. Yeah, Hardened Scales in Modern's playing it in a lot of Commander decks. Zaxara, the Exemplary. Animar Soul of Elements, Sauron the Dark Lord, and the Vidius Watcher. Oh yeah, also good. I like it. Ozlith, and then Dranith Magistrate. Well, this card's $20. A lot of Ikoria stuff on the list here this morning. Ikoria, sleeper set, pushing that block up. All right. Well, if you're heading into work and if you're just running a little late, you know, you can always quote Gandalf and tell your boss that a wizard is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to. Uh, he may still fire you, but give it a spell. See if it works. Let's look at this Dranith Magistrate. This is $20 from Ikoria. Wow. Your opponents can't cast spells from anywhere other than their hands. A stacks piece. $20. I think I might even have a little bit of Ikoria sitting around the Brody's bulk to be sorted. A card like this, you know, it's really wild. This is another reason why you don't want to like dump your bulk or dump your recent openings too quick. Give cards a little bit of time. Like this thing was only just a couple of bucks, $1, $2. Now it's $20 for the stacks piece. It's definitely moved up in price. Yeah, look at this. Just a steady increase with a little bit of a poke up in price. Always put my bulk into a sorting tray and I let it marinate for at least a year before I go through there and try and hollow it out, because it's amazing that some cards that are only $2 and you're like, well, this doesn't seem very good. I mean, this was my draft hit as a rare. It's not so great. It's only at $2. Man, did I get skunked? But man, you come back a year later and you see this thing running at about $20. Hammer Time playing it in modern, Abzan and Malia combo, Orzhov Scam playing it. Finding a lot of value in my bulk, specifically foils that were valueless cards. I'm starting to see that too. You know, these $2 cards and $4 cards hitting 20 and $30 here, man. Like, this is actually quite fantastic. I like that. That's why patience in this game is pretty good. Don't be so quick to just like throw your bulk or vendor it right away at the $2 to $3 mark. If you give it a couple of years, you might just go back to that stack of cards and then have some $20 bills in there. So that's really nice to see. You know, wizards don't fart. They just cast smells. What else we got? Besides the Drannith Magistrate. Another card, Mana Confluence. This thing's $50. And I think I'm running Reflecting Pool. Yeah, you can pay one life, add a mana of any color. This thing's about $50 Canadian. It's an expensive card. It slots into a lot of commander decks. Let's face it, we're not seeing it here on the list just because, or we're not seeing it on the list because of Pauper. We're seeing it, or Pioneer rather. We're probably um, seeing it on the list because of Commander. Let's take a look at the chart. Let's take a look at the chart on this one. Reflecting Pool. Reflecting Pool. I just want to take a look at the reflecting people. No, pool. Reflecting Pool. Pole? Reflecting Pool? Reflecting Pole. I think this is a cheaper version of something that does a similar thing. Yeah, this is $7. The Reflecting Pool adds a mana of any type that a land you control could produce. And then the Mana Confluence adds anything. There's so many good cards with the printer just blew right by. We're still catching up. Yeah, right? Like there's a lot of good cards that because they just printed so much. It's going to take actually with the more printing and more printing, it's going to take longer for some of these cards to actually sort of find their level, find their benchmark, right? I'm not playing the Mana for Confluence. Too rich for my blood at this point in time. At $50 to buy it, I'm just running Reflecting Pool, and I've got a copy of City of Brass that I use already. It's kind of similar, except it does a damage. Mana Confluence, really good card. It taps for any. You got to pay life. Taps for a mana of any color. Of course, if something nerfs you to not being able to pay life, then the Mana Confluence kind of has a downside to it, but for the time being, the Mana Confluence are really good auto include in commander decks that are running more than one color. And this card, Nyxbloom Ancient, I bought into this card hard in Theros. I did. I bought singles of this. I think I bought a play set. Cost me almost $100, and I was really sad about it because I didn't end up running it. Let's just take a look here at this card. It's been stable around the $25 mark. In Nyxbloom Ancient, I speculated on this card thinking it would be a lot better, and then look at it's only gone east and west. So seeing up a little bit of a tick up in price in the Nyxbloom, not really indicative of a card that's making mana. I mean, making waves and making a price run. The 5/5 trample says if you tap a permanent for mana, it produces 3 times as much mana as that would normally produce. Of course, we got Omlas playing it. Any of the green commander ramp decks that are running Eldrazi and big stuff. The Nyxbloom Ancient's a pretty good card for mana rocking and rolling and getting your spells up, being able to cast big Eldrazi, things like Ulamog or maybe even a Ugin. Big Ugins off the Nyx Bloom Ancient. Seems like something a green player would do, right? It's also got 3 green color pips and it's a 5/5, so you get a bit of a decent body. Oh, there's that sound already. Has it been an hour? Oh my goodness, it has. Well, one more joke for you folks. Why did the wizards show up to the battle empty-handed? Their weapons were at a staff meeting. All right. And what do you call a wizard with a decent outlook on life? Optimistic. All right, spell chasers, spell catchers, curse chasers, and curse catchers, players, gamers, friends, people who like to crack packs and shuffle up stacks of Magic the Gathering cards. Thank you so much for joining here on the morning show. It's Tuesday edition. We're doing a little bit of Magic the Gathering stocks and a couple of Magic the Gathering talks with friends of the channel. We got the Hot Dice, got Tommy Siddons, Tom 94 Cup. We got the Rusted one. Oh, there's just a bunch of you folks that joined in here. Murray Cooper, thanks for joining me here this morning. It really means a lot to see you. I hope wherever you go, may the wind be at your back and the sun be on your face. And if you need to talk Magic, you know this is the place. You can join me in the mornings or check out some of my other videos. Don't forget to hit that like button, the subscribe button. We're going to try and push that 350 subscriber mark. It would be nice to get there. And I can't do it without you folks helping do that. All right, what do you call a wizard from Uganda? Uganda. I got to get out of here. The cops are at the door. I got to go do a little work today. Back to work. It's the new year. Hope may all your resolutions come true. May you be merry, and we'll catch you on the next show. Talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. It's Brody Alfonso. Let's get that jazz flute going in the background. Ron Burgundy would be so proud.